You're going to have these babies. Are you planning to just throw them on Kijiji the moment they're born, or Craigslist, or drop them off at a pet store? Or are you going to actually do what it takes? Are you going to take the time trying to get them to eat? Some snakes, they take their food really nice and easily. Some of them don't. Are you ready to deal with difficult eaters? You also have to ask yourself, if you do get bit by the animal, what's going to happen then? People tend to do one of two things when they get bit. The first one is, oh wow, that's not bad at all. And they get over it, don't worry about it, just understand that, that just kind of happens sometimes. Or it can be a big turnoff. You can get bit, and after that, it's just like, nope, I'm not going near it. I'm just going to feed it. We're not going to work past the bite. Number two, are you going to be able to sell them? Some people get emotionally attached and then don't want to sell them and start hoarding. I think an even bigger problem is just that some people have a hard time selling animals. It's a whole different skill. Just because you like something doesn't mean you'll be good at selling it. Do you like interacting with people? Sometimes we like reptiles because we feel we're misunderstood and they're misunderstood, and it seems to kind of draw a certain kind of people. Some of these people, you included, are more of an animal person than a people person. You might really love these animals and you might not like people, or you might not like dealing with people, and if you're going to be breeding animals, you're going to be dealing with some people, so you're going to have to consider that. One of the things that really shocked me kind of coming into this industry is lack of friendliness amongst keepers. There are some that are great. There's sometimes you go to the shows and you see the regulars, you say hi to them, and you have a nice time, you catch up, you look at the animals, and you say, oh wow, you're producing this. It's a great place to develop friendships. But you'd be surprised at how many booths you walk by where they're just standing there kind of like, it's like they're standing at their booth waiting for people to come and buy animals from them. And unless they have something people are really looking for, I wouldn't be buying from them, and I think most others wouldn't want to buy from someone that's standing there with their head down like, oh, why is no one talking to me? You have to be ready to engage and talk to people, be friendly to them, and that's how you're going to be able to make these connections, and that's how you're going to be able to have people that want to buy animals off of you. Number 3, how can you make sure that your animals are going to go to good homes? Are you going to make an effort to find out about the people that are kind of buying them off you? If they have experience, do you have any other animals? Stuff like that. Or are you just going to try and get rid of them as fast as possible? There's a saying, if you don't respect yourself, nobody else will. And this applies to animals too. If you don't have respect for the animals that you're taking care of, you don't value them, then the people buying them off you are not going to give you or those animals as much respect either. So that leads us into number 4, and that is charge enough. When you charge enough for your animals, you're showing that they're worth something. When you are selling animals for basically next to nothing, that is not showing respect for them. That's basically saying, I'm trying to get rid of you. A lot of big breeders are pumping out so many animals, and they're playing the volume game. They're basically running puppy mills for snakes, where they're breeding as much as possible, and they're raising rodents at the same time, so they're feeding these animals live. They have a team of people cleaning these animals, and they're not spending any time actually interacting with them. It's just a business where the animals are getting pumped out, they're being fed live, and then they're selling them as quick as possible for as kind of cheap as possible. And that kind of is what the big breeders are doing. They're relying on volume. They're selling at wholesale prices to all the pet stores, and then they're selling their extras to other people for sometimes even $25. And that, to me, is one of the big problems in our industry. If you're not going to be producing at that level, which no one really should, because the animals aren't really getting treated the way they should going that way. I'm trying to talk to you to think, if you're just starting into breeding, if you're only breeding a clutch of ball pythons or a little group of one animal or two animals, you're going to have less to sell. So that means it's going to be kind of easier for you, and at the same time, you should be able to charge a bit more, because you don't have to move 1,000 animals. You're only, let's say, moving 20 animals. You should be able to charge a little bit more and sell yourself. You know, I sell myself. I tell people, I show people, look, if you buy an animal off me, it's eating frozen thawed. It's going to be handleable. And that's one of the reasons that you should get an animal off of me. So are you going to be able to do that? Are you going to respect yourself? Are you going to respect your animals? Like, you spent a year taking care of them, and now they have babies.
What are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it! Yes, you can! Just do it!
And bring them to the pet store and sell them for next to nothing. Then you're not helping yourself, and you're not helping those animals, because all those animals then are basically, the pet store is going to make the money for your hard work, and they're not going to really care for those animals the same way that you would if you put that time into them. Put in that work for that animal and then charge enough for it. There's nothing wrong with charging what the animal's worth, and the animal's worth whatever someone is willing to pay for it. And that doesn't mean you have to go insane, but I think that if you're a private breeder working with a few little animals, you should be able to charge a bit more. And that leads us into number 5. Have a plan. Work on a project. Lots of people buy very cheap animals, and then they want to breed these cheap animals, and then they produce more cheap animals. It doesn't help the animals, it doesn't help you, and it's nice to kind of see your animals breed. But for instance, let's say boas, now there's 20 babies, and just because you thought it was nice to see your animal breed, now you have 20 animals that need homes. And this is happening a lot in our industry, that everyone wants to breed. As a breeder, I've had to learn to kind of not breed, to stop producing more of kind of the same that's already out there. It's already out there, you can already find it. I want to produce something kind of new or something fancy. That has its own problems too. If you're producing animals that are $1,000, they're a lot harder to sell than animals that are like up to $500. All my animals that were like under $500 are almost all sold, and I have quite a few snakes that are about $1,000 that haven't sold. That's the other side of it. I think that the best thing you could do as a breeder, if you want to be a small-time breeder, is invest in the highest quality animal you can get, like in your dream animal. Buy your dream animal once every couple years. If you wanted to breed, produce with that animal that's going to bring more to the market, that's going to have something, you know, that more people desire, that more people want. Then you have people coming to you that want to buy your animals. You're going to get more from it financially, and the people spending more on animals that they really want, in general, do take better care of them. That's not to say that, you know, cheap animals are worthless or that people aren't going to give them good homes, but just in general, when someone pays more for something, they take better care of it. Bonus tip, I'm Canadian. Okay, if you're Canadian, our market is pretty interesting, because in America, it seems that people will pay more for animals, and you look at the same animals here, we have less of them, and their prices are way lower. And why is that happening? It's happening because for some reason, I think that keepers here don't think that they can sell them, or they're not good at selling them, so then they sell them for way cheaper so that they can, and they create a problem for everyone. So if you're producing something and you don't need to sell it at a cheap price, you should charge more. You should look at Morph Market, you should see what the Americans are charging, and you should match your prices with them. And because often, even if you look at the American price and the American dollar, and people are charging less than that price in Canadian dollars, which is already way cheaper. If you're a Canadian breeder, stand up for yourself a bit, you know? Don't just let your animals go for nothing. Don't try to get rid of them. If you're just trying to get rid of your animals, then you shouldn't be breeding them. You're taking care of these animals to the best of your ability. You're producing something really special. It's life. It's valuable. And you should value it. And then you should sell it for what it's actually worth, and make sure or try your best to make it go to a good home. And that's something that, you know, is hard to do, especially the more animals that you're producing and the more you're taking care of. So learn from my mistakes, right? I've already kind of grown almost too quickly, even though I've taken slow steps, and gotten to the point where it's like I have so many animals And even though I can produce so many, I don't want to, because I don't want to just be pumping them out and selling them for nothing. I'd rather produce half as many and charge a little bit more, and it just makes it better for everyone. It makes it easier for you because you don't have as many animals to take care of. You don't have as many animals that you feel obligated to sell, and you can really spend more time enjoying those animals. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate your time. Please subscribe. This is supposed to be a 2-minute Tuesday, and it's totally gone longer than that, but whatever. If you want to see more 2-minute Tuesdays, check out that playlist. It'll be in the first video. I also went through a whole nice long discussion about a whole pile of different things inside my On the Bucket series, so that'll be in the second video. Check that out. Thanks for joining. Remember to subscribe. Smash that like button. It helps me. Leave a comment, tell me your thoughts on, if you're a breeder and you've gone through some strange things, tell me about them. If you have any ideas for video topics, feel free to ask them. And if you don't know what to say, just go in the comments and say, I like it. I like it. It's my little joke. I don't know. I'm part Spanish, so every now and then I like to put on my accent and be like, come over here. I know you like it. So now tell me in the comments that you like it, okay?